Well, good morning and welcome to my apartment patio and the first video in a long multi-part evaluation of the NEXTORCH TEX20. Now, the TEX20 is not just an individual pack. You might think of it as an entire ecosystem, which includes add-ons like this water bottle holder, as well as some packs that can be used both individually or attached onto the TEX20 to increase your ability to load out gear. Now, on the subject of video, I'm doing something a bit different today. A typical evaluation is a short introduction followed by a field test. Because of the number of field tests that I need to perform and the length of time over which those tests need to be performed, I'm actually stepping back and doing an extended intro video today, and that will be followed by a number of field tests. Now, I will film the first field test before I publish this video, so you will be able to click on the video from the end screen and go directly from this introduction to the first field test, or you could take a break, go to the website, check this gear out in more detail, and then come back to the field test later. You've got lots of options. In fact, that's going to be my keyword for this entire evaluation is options, options, and more options. Now, before I get started, I do have to point out that packs are highly individualistic pieces of gear. The exact same pack may work really well for one person, not so well for another person. You also have to consider use case. That's probably the most important use case just beyond body characteristics. Now, for me, that use case is night, wilderness, search, and rescue. That means I'm out mostly at night, mostly in a wilderness environment, and I need a lot of flexibility in my gear. I can go out to the exact same location under the exact same conditions, and my loadout will be dramatically different because my mission is different in those two instances. So just keep that in mind as I go forward. I'm looking at everything through that search and rescue lens, particularly for night operations. I think that will give you a lot more perspective, not only throughout the remainder of this video, but throughout the subsequent field exercises. Before I go any further, what I want to do now is, instead of moving forward, I want to step back, show you what I've been using for the last about 4.5 years and why I'm in the process of making a change now. Now, the first thing I'll point out is that there are a lot of really good packs on the market. I don't have the financial ability or the bandwidth to evaluate everything. So when I show you something that I've used, that doesn't mean it's the best pack on the market. It doesn't even mean it's the best pack for me personally. It just means at the time, with the financial constraints that I had and the bandwidth that I had to evaluate gear, this is what I settled on. So for better or for worse, this is what I've used for the last roughly 4.5 years. It's the 511 Operator ALS. In terms of capacity, I might say it's a little bit too big. I prefer to move very light, very fast. I do mostly what you would call tracking searches, and so time is critical. I've got to find somebody at night in conditions where other responders are shut down, provide as much first aid as possible, and then I'm going to have to work to possibly get other responders into the area to handle an extraction that is beyond my personal ability. So load light, move fast is kind of my MO. And I still like lots of expandability. And again, lots of options, and this pack has provided me with it. The ability to load gear on the back, the sides. I really like the straps. These are good, thick straps. I can put lots of gear on these, and it's very important for me to have critical gear right in front of me. Sometimes I'll even wear a chest rig. The rationale is, worst case scenario, I get injured, I'm not able to access anything in my pack. The only thing I can do is get maybe one hand, and that's it, up to my chest area. So anything that is critical, I want up in that area. The other thing that I liked about it historically is you can take these two red handles and pull both ways, and you can basically rip the bag open rapidly. It came with color-coded containers, which was really nice because I could put a lot of gear for specific purposes in one color-coded container and have them stacked one on top of another. So if I came across a person and it was a serious bleed, I put this down, rip it open, grab the red colored container. That's my Stop the Bleed kit. Lots of internal storage capability. I mean, overall, it's been a very serviceable bag. It wasn't perfect out of the box. As you can see, I had to do some minor surgery on it. I don't like waist pads, pockets, or straps. It interferes with access to my pistol. So I had to do a little bit of minor surgery on this. It's handled wear very good, but the downside of this rapid open system is that there's a lot of open space, and so it's very easy for water and foreign objects to ingress in there. Also, it's a bit on the big side in terms of capacity. So while I have used this very successfully for a very long time, in the next chapter I'm going to tell you what I'm in the process of transitioning to. I'll talk about some of the features of the TEX20, not all of them, but some, and then I'll show you how I have this base system loaded out. For the last, I'd say 18 months or so, I've kind of had this idea that what I would really like to have, because so many times when I go out, it's a training exercise, it's a product review. I don't need to load out as extensively as I have in the past, but I do need to have enough gear for myself, as well as handle the situation where I inadvertently come across someone or a situation where I have to transition from whatever I'm doing into an assistance and rescue capacity. That's happened quite a bit. So I've been thinking about a scout style pack, something in that 15 to 18 liter range, but something that was highly expandable, so I could take a very lightweight base loadout and then build on top of it to handle various mission profiles. So when I started digging into this TEX20, it looked like it had a lot of those features. The capacity is on the high end of what I wanted, but it wasn't too bad. Now, when I got this out of the box, the first thing I noticed is that there's straps everywhere, inside and outside. And I kind of rolled my eyes, said, all right, get the razor blade out. It's time to do some minor surgery. What I really like about this pack is that almost all of your straps are optional. You'll see the TEX20 and some of this supplemental gear has this elongated D-ring. And so you press this in and this latch flips open. You can actually slide straps on there. And so you can take the straps off and then put straps back on to manage individual use cases. So that was a big deal. Expandability. You like Molly, you've got it all the way around. Back, sides, even the bottom. You see I've already attached the TEX20 water bottle holder. I've got a third party holder that I put right here that gives me the ability to add on other gear in this patch. Now you may be asking why I loaded all of this up on the left side. I put water bottles in there. Isn't that going to make it unbalanced to that side? And yes, it will. However, I carry my pistol on the right side, so this helps me actually balance out the pistol load to some degree. And of course I can move this around as needed. I've got the UT41 right here. It clips on just perfectly. NEXTORCH gives you some area to attach morale patches. This is what they give you right out of the box, these reflective patches, so that's a very nice touch. I've got room for a radio holder. What I really like about this is I can put my tourniquet up high here, and one of the things I noticed in the very first test eval I did for about 30-45 minutes is I can actually reach my right hand back here and get access to this cat without even taking my pack off. And the reason I've got it on this side is I load right to left and I unload left to right. And so when I unload my left arm, I can swing this around, and while I'm still holding it here, I can transition to the cat with my left hand. Now let's look at the front. These are some of the best straps I've ever seen. In fact, my initial thought was they may be a bit too wide. Very well padded, ventilated. It's great for putting lots of gear on the front. What are my two most accessed pieces of kit in every single op? It doesn't make any difference whether it's hot, cold, night, day. It's my Ranger beads and my whistle right here. And I can still load additional gear onto this. We go back to the inside. I talked about the rapid access capability of the Operator ALS bag. You have this over the zipper. That should help vector rainwater off. I always like to keep my a ring right here for rapid open, so if I'm feeling through this at night, I just feel for the ring, and that allows me to rip open, and then I can pull this back and have access to the inside of the pack. If I can get it leaning back just rightly, I can do that with one hand. I can't show here, it's a little bit difficult to do with the phone, but you can take a knee and lean this sideways up against your knee and then rip out that way. Now, I like to keep all my gear compartmentalized in small packs that I can move to different places, but you like rings to put gear on? You've got them. Need a little extra Velcro? No problem. This area back here can actually hold a small notebook computer. I keep waterproof containers, halo seal, burn dressing, SAM splint, things of that nature in there. So these are just some of the things that I like about the pack out of the box. It's the right size, maybe a little bit big, but pretty much the right size. It has great expandability. You can place either this commuter or rapid deployment bag onto here if you need a lot more capacity. I may do a completely separate review of this, but I've never seen something that's this small of a bag that has so many pockets and compartments. So probably look for an extra video on that. I've been talking for way too long. What you're probably interested in is how does this carry? What's it like to get it off and on and off and on and access gear? And will it hold up to light rain? Lots of questions. I need to start providing answers. By now, there should be an end screen that's come up on the video. Just click through to that video and you'll go to the first field test. Or like I said earlier, you can stop this video, go to the website, check it out in more detail, come back to the first field test later. That's right, you've got lots of keyword as options.